To be back in the studio today, but what an amazing day it's going to be. I have some guests with me today, y'all, and super excited about today's topic, as I always say. And of course, you know, no matter what we're bringing to you, it always has a tie to mental health. And so we hope that something is said or done today that encourages you, inspires you from the desk of the therapist. This is your girl. What's good, everybody? Hey! So without further ado, we about to get it rocking, and I'm going to ask my guests if they will be kind enough to please join me on stage. Hey, y'all. Hey, what's good?
What's good? What's good? How you doing?
I am amazing. Do me a favor and just introduce yourself to the people.
All right. What's good? What's good? I'm Yalanda Cork, the mother of these two queens.
Hello, everybody. What's good? My name is Aleyah Cork. I am the oldest daughter of Yalanda Cork.
Hello, everyone. My name is Anyah Cork, and obviously, I am the youngest of the bunch.
Hey, thank you, ladies, so much for being with me today. This has been a long time coming. Y'all know the behind-the-scenes pain that we've been going through to make this happen. I thank you all so much for your grace and your presence today, and just your willingness to show up for your girl. Thank you.
Absolutely. Our pleasure.
But before we go on, let's give a shout out to the Red Lipstick Gang in the house today. Can we?
Yes.
Is the red lips popping, baby, or is the red lips popping?
No other way but red.
I love it. I love it. Well, today we're going to be talking about raising queens. Yes, and a while back I had my cousin join me, and she was talking all about raising kings. And I'm like, you know what? I always try to get different perspectives, male perspective, woman perspective, as it pertains to her daughters, her son, you know, so that we can be inclusive, right? Yeah. And so when I'm thinking about raising queens, it was hands down, easy thought process. Like, I got to get my sister Yalanda on here with her beautiful, beautiful daughters, just to talk about raising queens. Because personally, when I see you all gracing the cover and presence of everywhere that people are, you ladies are not, only physically beautiful, but you are internally beautiful. And there's a poise, and there's a presence, and there's a grace, and there's a class that comes with it, and all the accolades that you're achieving. And I can't help but think your mama had something to do with that, right?
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Because as I look at you, whether it's the hairstyles or the haircut or the glasses, you are your mother's child, right? You are your mother's children. So, and which is a great thing. It is a kudos to you, Yalanda. So tell me a little bit about when you hear raising queens. What does that sound like? And do you feel like that's something that you've achieved?
You know what? And to God be the glory. It's a work in progress. It's every day. But I do look at the way that they are conducting themselves, the way they're carrying themselves, what people say about them. And I'm very proud and honored to be their mom. I'm more proud that God trusted me with these two girls. He gave me the blank canvas. And you know what? It was just go for it. Because, you know, when you really think about it, is there a handbook on raising kids? So, you know, you got to do what you know is the right thing to do. And one of the things that I've always instilled in them is, for me, leading by example. If I'm going to say it to them, I got to model this, no pun intended, to my daughter. But I had to model that thing in front of them. I couldn't just talk the talk and not walk it out in front of them. So I do believe, I'm a firm believer in modeling whatever I put out there into the atmosphere of them. And, you know, I started them with young, letting them know that whatever you put your mind to, you can do it. And it always has to be with class and grace. There is no other way.
Absolutely. So I'm going to back up because I got a little bit ahead of myself. But as you ladies introduce yourself, tell me a little bit about how you are known or what you're known for on the scenes, right? Tell me a little bit about that, Aleyah.
Yes. So some of you may have seen me on the runways here in Indianapolis. So I've been modeling since 2019, I would say, right before the pandemic hit. And I absolutely love it, just being a model, and not only a model for myself, but I'm also a model for Christ, and just showing, allowing his light to shine through me on the runway, on and off the runway.
Amen.
Yes, I love. Like, you're making your mom so proud right now. Anyah, what about you, girl?
So I am by no means a model at all. That is definitely Aleyah's gift for sure. Honestly, the people that know me, they just know that my heart truly just is dedicated and it belongs to God, and that my life is honestly just predicated on prayer. So you'll find me in the church praying. You'll find me, honestly, I went to dinner with my friend and we just like got together and we just started praying because she needed prayer. I needed prayer. So, you know, wherever I can just be used by him is what I'm going to do. So that's for the people that know me. That's me.
I love it. I love it. We're going to get all in that thing. Yalanda, I'm going to come back to you. When you think
Yes,
about
ma'am.
raising your daughters, we don't have a handbook. And I tell parents all the time, give yourself some grace.
Yes.
Because, you know, our children's expectation is that we have it all together. They could be super
Oh,
critical
yeah.
of us, right?
Yeah.
Even though the truth of the matter is, we still trying to figure this thing out.
Absolutely.
Because in parenting, you have the different stages. You know, you have the baby stage, and then you have the toddler stage, and the needs are different when they go to kindergarten and go to school, and then they change when they get to middle school, and then the needs change in high school, and change as they transition to go to college. So when you think about your core values that you stand on or have been committed to in raising your girls, what were those, and why was that important?
For me, it was, like I said, leading by example was one. And I always told them to treat people the way that you want to be treated. And so I always had to tap into, like you said, being authentic with them. One of the things in our home was we was always going to be real. We was never going to make it look pretty. We was never going to make it sound like we always had it together, no matter what we, as Aleyah said, out here modeling, no matter what that looks like. But inside this home, we were going to always be real and keep it honest. And a part of that was, sis, I had to be honest with them about my journey before I became a mother. And I had to learn the difference in raising them, because one is very outspoken and one is not. One is I gotta sometimes, you know, be a little bit more aggressive with, and one is not. But really leading by example and treating each other the way that they want other people to treat them. And that's exclusive into your home too. You can't treat other people outside the home better. So we wanted to all, you know what I'm saying? So I always, it was important for me to treat them like I wanted to be treated. And I treated them like young adults. And you said something, sis, when you said the different stages. So when they got in middle school, different levels changed. So when they were in elementary school, you know, things were cute and fun. Then when you get in middle school, it became a little bit more challenging. And then you get in high school and then it's on. So, you know, as they changed, and then when womanhood and things of that nature came into play and emotions came into play, you know, you as a mom, you know, we have to alter ourselves daily. So I have one an introvert and one an extrovert, and it could be I'm getting on one, the extrovert very firmly. And then if I'm going upstairs to get with that other one, while I'm on my way up the stairs, I tell people all the time, I had to switch gears. So we're constantly switching gears as a mother for them to be the women that they are. So even to this day, I have to change gears a lot with them. But I had to understand that they're two different people.
Yes.
That's what was important. I couldn't treat one the same way that I treated the other. Now, like, God loves us all, but he knows how to deal with us differently. So that's how I am with the girls. So I had to treat them differently and allow them to make their mistakes as well.
Girl, that's a whole nother.
Yes, it is.
So Aleyah, let me ask you, you know, when you think about being raised by your mom, right? And as you have seasoned and matured as a young lady into womanhood, what is one of the greatest lessons learned that you're like, man, I'm so glad my mom laced my boots on this, or this is something that I carry? I know we talk about God and I love the Lord. Hallelujah. Honey, we need some substance behind the God too. Like, what did your mother say, do? What was it that she gave you to help you really get through life?
For me, I would say I learned by doing. So, and learning from my mistakes. So she was, of course, transparent with her journey in life. So just hearing that from her, and she, you know, allowed me to make mistakes, and she allowed me to make decisions on my own, even though she knew the outcome. I thought I knew the outcome better than she did, but you know, I just had to just learn from my own mistakes. I just think that was really important for me to hear her story and allow her to be transparent with me, because I'm a very transparent person. So just let me know upfront what's going on, what you're dealing with. I love learning about people and their stories and their background and where they come from and their obstacles. So for me, I had to hear and see the things that she's gone through in order for me to get my breakthrough.
Now, did you respect it, or was there ever a time that you got judgmental? Like, how you gonna tell me and you used to do?
I'm gonna be 100% honest. I definitely was judgmental at times, because like, how are you gonna say one thing? But yeah, I was judgmental at times, but I had to respect it at the end of the day, because we're all human. We all make mistakes. But yeah, just being honest, I was a little judgmental, but it helped me in the long run.
Thank you for sharing. Anyah, you, greatest lesson learned. Like, mom, thank God my mom, you know, taught me this, or I learned this from watching my mom. What would that be?
Yeah, so honestly, I've learned quite a few things as we've evolved into the women that we are today. But I think one of the lasting things that my mom has taught us and just shown us that has really lasted and that I use is that you always treat people how you want to be treated. And it can be somebody that you may come across that is somebody that you may not want to frequent often, but you still want to show Jesus in your heart. You still want to draw them, because it says, in loving kindness have I drawn thee. And so my mom has always just been somebody that's, you know, it can be encounters that she's had with people. They may not be favorable of her, or she may not be, you know, somebody that she would necessarily talk with, but she always just showed so much love and grace and kindness. And that's just something that has always stuck with me. And it's honestly just got me so far in life, and even in like work and in personal relationships and stuff like that, because you just have to really show Jesus in your heart and show them, like, this is how things are supposed to be. This is how I want you to feel, because this is how I would want, you know, myself to be treated. So those are main things that I've learned. And it's been easy to learn that because she actually does it and doesn't just say it. So, yeah.
That's a big difference.
Mhm.
That's a big difference. So let's go there. Let's go there, right?
Yes,
because
ma'am.
a lot of parents who, you know, they want to be their child's friend.
Oh.
And I had to tell someone recently, it's a difference between being friendly towards your children as opposed to trying to be their friend.
That's it.
Because when it comes time to check them,
Yeah.
pull their coattail, lace their boots.
Yeah.
And that's when we have the challenges, because hold up. Like Aleyah said, now how you gonna tell me?
Yeah. Yeah.
They watch and see everything, right?
Oh, absolutely.
So what is the difference, and how do you balance in that space? Help somebody out. Like, this is real conversation. I want somebody to be blessed through this dialogue, right? How do you help somebody, or, you know, what did that look like when these are my girls and I love them, but I'm their mother?
Yeah.
And they need a parent.
Yeah. So I think for me, we have a lot of fun. We play a lot and we enjoy each other's company, but they all know there's a boundary and there's a fine line, and they've crossed it. You said the substance behind, we love the Lord, but there's been times that we've crossed it, and because they've crossed it, and when they've crossed it, Jesus was still in it, but so was their mama.
Yeah.
And what that means, and what that looks like, is like you just said, one thing and they have older brothers. So I've always preached and teach, I'm never going to be your friend, no matter how much older you get. I'm getting that much older and wiser. So we're never going to be friends, because like you just said, there's always going to come a point, well, as the parent, we're going to have to chin check them or remind them of the boundary. So with me, and I've always, if I didn't say previously, I've always been firm but fair. So I'm going to have fun with my kids. I'm going to laugh. I'm going to joke. We're going to play games. But there's a certain look, and there might be a certain tone. And all my kids know that look and that tone. You're getting a little close, so let's back up a little bit. But as they get older, and they will soon be leaving the nest, you know, I want them to know I'm always here for them. But even though I'm still just never going to be your friend, you can't be friends with them, because there might be a day that you got to deliver a harder lesson as they get older, grown or not. You just can never be your child's friend. I've always been against that, sis, when people said, oh, my daughter's my best friend. How? Make that make sense. Your daughter cannot, the way I parent, let me say that, My daughters are not my best friend. Now they can say that all day, but I'm letting them know I am not your best friend.
Yeah.
You're not my best friend because I'm still going to be mom at the end of the day. And like you said, there's always going to come a place that I got to be a parent. No matter when they get married and have kids, I still got to parent.
Yes.
I still have to parent.
And you know what? That respect is everything. You know, I'm just sitting here thinking even specific examples, right? Of instances where maybe you had to have those difficult conversations, because we definitely want to give them the space and place to come to us. We have to be, I tell parents all the time, you know, we have different love languages, right?
Yeah.
Sometimes as parents, we show up as, you know, my love language may be, you know, gifts. A lot of parents not try to buy their kids.
Yeah.
But their love language is, I'm loving you through buying you the shoes you want or the clothes you want and the items that you want. But I tell parents all the time, you have to meet a child's needs holistically.
Absolutely.
Mentally, spiritually, emotionally, financially.
Yeah.
So it has to be all encompassing. But when I think about the best friend, I know what I tell my best friend, and I can imagine.
Yeah, that's it.
Telling my child.
Right.
The stuff that my best friend knows about.
Exactly.
Me, right?
Exactly.
Everybody.
Absolutely.
But I'm interested in hearing specific examples. You know, when we think about, we talked about the stages of transition, the developmental stages. High school, when you get you a boo thing, and you want to tell your mama that you got a boo, like you got a who? His name is Jesus, ain't it? His name got to be Jesus. How was that, Aleyah or Anyah? Like, wow, were you scared? Has it happened? It may not be. It may not. I may be assuming. But, you know, you had a little crush that you wanted to talk to your mom about. Like, how scary and intimidating was that? And then Yalanda, how did you help guide in that space? Because that's a reality of some parents when their daughters come to them. Like, what you doing? What we doing, sis?
Yeah, I could say in high school, well, even when it came to like being in relationships and boyfriends in general, I used to always be scared to tell my parents, like, I like this boy or I have a boyfriend. I felt like I was not allowed to have a boyfriend. I don't know where that idea came from, but I just always felt like that. But in high school, you know, I just used to be scared, or honestly, being 100, since we're being transparent, I would keep it a secret and then just talk to him at school and just come home, and that was it. But I was just always scared to tell my mom or my dad, like, especially my dad, but my mom, like, I have this person I'm interested in, because I'm learning my own feelings. I'm learning my own emotions. I don't know what it is I'm feeling. So in high school, it was scary, but now that I'm older, it's a different story.
Yes, good. I mean, that's real. We ain't gonna keep giving disclaimers. We just gonna keep it real.
Yes.
Anyah, what about you? Have you experienced that, and what was that like for you?
So it's really funny you say that, because I'm honestly like the blunt one, and that's something that God has like really matured as I've gotten older. But when it came to like boys in high school, I really never dated like that. So if there was somebody that I liked, I would just tell my mom, like, what do you think? Because I had the mindset of you date with the intent to marry. And so I was just like, I'm not about to just sit here and date any old body. Like, they have to be X, Y, and Z. And so when it came to like me liking a guy or a guy liking me, like, I would just always take it up with my mom. Like, girl, what do you think? Like, you know, could he possibly be the one, or like, should I give him a chance or anything like that? Because I just really never wanted to put myself out there if it wasn't going to be long term. I was gonna say, I was never like scared though, because my mom knows me. Like, she knows I just really kind of just didn't really play around. So
you had one who was a little bit timid, rightfully so, for her own reasons, and the other one was like, "Mama, what you think about him? He cute."
Yeah.
Yes. Yalanda, how did you respond? Like, how did your heart sink? Because let me tell you, in transparency with me, my daughter, I had my first child at 16 and my second child at 19, right? And so, of course, you're like, I don't want this for my kid.
Yes.
And so really one of the greatest lessons for me is and I'm going to do an episode on it, things I wish my mother would have told me. Not that she was a bad parent.
Yeah. Right. Absolutely.
She didn't have certain conversations that would have been beneficial to me. So I learned from that. And so consequently, now I'm having these conversations with my daughter because I don't want her having, that life experience of being 16. And what do I do when I'm pregnant? Or how do I even get in this situation? How was I not protecting myself in this situation? So how do you, when they brought that to you, Yalanda, like, woo.
So let's go to Aleyah. So I am that mom, says that when they would tell me, like, what of course, no one's ever going to be good enough for our kids, right?
Girl,
That's
never.
how we look at it, right? I'm just being honest. But there were times, and since in full transparency, like you said, let's not make this all cute. I allowed them again, and I've always been that mom. I wanted them to get out there and make I wanted them to make those mistakes, have those experiences, so then we can talk about it, because I was transparent about my journey. Full transparency, Aleyah is a lot more, even though she's the introvert, when it comes to that, she wasn't. And so I'm always on the tail of the other one, the extrovert, thinking, let me keep an eye on this one. And this was not the one, sis, that I had to watch. It was that quiet one, that introvert. So we had a few ups and downs, and, there was times, God love it, but I had to reach out and touch a little bit a few times and let her know that this, I would say, Lee, I'm not sure about that one. She brought it to me. I never just full on and went, no. Once she shared it with me, I was like, I don't think he's the one. But then, of course, I didn't know what I was talking about. Even though I am the mother, I never knew what I was talking about. So she found out the hard way. And that's what I mean by letting them make those mistakes, because I let her continue, gave my opinion on it, wasn't excited about it, and I explained to them too about the whole, you don't want to get into relationships and give yourself to this person, because when you do that, when it's gone, it's gone. You can't get it back. So you don't want to just give it up to anybody. Sis, I was even honest with them about, the notch on the belt. If you do it with this one, then he gonna go back and tell his friends, and then his friends and his friends, and so forth and so on. So we had, probably before they went in 7th grade, middle school, we had open, honest, raw discussions, so much so that they were like, Mom, enough. I don't want to hear it anymore. Since I was honest, I gave them the A to the Z. So, I am that mom that has those conversations with them. Like I said, my quiet one was the one that I always had to keep an eye out on, and made the mistakes. But I'm glad, because even though with those mistakes, I watched her grow. And Anyah is the extrovert. So she was the hardcore one that, she was the one, if she's honest, I guess she forgot about the boys she fought in the front yard.
What?
He messed with my sister.
Because so and all I hear is, Miss Cork, get Anyah off me, because Anyah's laying him out in the front yard about something that he did to her sister. So they've had those, and their hearts have been broken, and if they would, that's for them to share. I hope they do. But they've gone through that heartache, and it's built them character and who they are today, even having those hardships with some little knucklehead boys.
Yeah. So to your point, we're not out here catching bodies, sis. We ain't catching bodies, right? In real life, it's a thing. Yes, it's a thing. You catch bodies early, then by the time you think you. And I tell my boys, especially because my boys are older, 26 and 23, and I'm like, and I want to ask you, Yalanda, you're married. You've been married. I was married for 20 years with my children's father, for 25 years, my ex-husband, and it seemed like my kids wanted to mirror that. They felt compelled to be like their mom and dad and get locked in. I heard Anyah say that, right? Like that forever relationship. And you're so young, and you don't even know what you like. You're trying to figure out what you like. And I'm gonna have to tell my boys, like, when you ate a hot dog for the first time, then you ate cheeseburgers and pizza and pickles, and you tried a flavor of different things. And it's not catching bodies, but it's spending time with different people.
Absolutely.
Understand what it is that you like. Did you ladies ever feel, or Yalanda, do you feel like they felt the pressure of modeling what mom did? And not that it's a bad thing, but did they feel like they had to live up to that?
Oh, absolutely. But and I do feel like that 100%. But we also, my husband and I, have also been honest with them about marriage, about relationship, because, they don't know, of course, but we dated 6 months and we've been married 27 years. You know what I mean? So, and now that they are old enough and see things, and I go back, sis, and I think, was it a mistake that we didn't have? We've had heated arguments, but was it a mistake that they didn't really get to see the arguments? what I
How you
mean?
get through it.
Yes. You know what I mean? So they've seen us have growing pains, but some of those things we still kept from them. And now that they're getting older, I'm like, well, Lord, did I make a good decision by not because you got to have a balance there, because they don't need to know everything. But at the same token, you want them to know relationships, marriage is not easy. It's rough, but you can get through it. But, I do feel like, to your question, that they probably do feel like they have to live up to that. But we've even sat down with them, and it's kind of ironic that you're asking that question. We don't want them to feel like they have to do it the way that we did it, because their journey is not going to be our journey.
Right.
We want to be the example to them, but they know some of the mistakes that we've made. So
Absolutely. Absolutely. I love that. I want to transition because there's so much we can continue in this space, man, but I'm trying to get as much of it in as I can. So when we think about, I'm a church girl. Hey, where my church girls at?
Hey!
I'm going to pray the walls and heavens down, baby. Don't let this fool you, because your girl is...
We already know.
Call me if you need prayer, okay?
Yes.
But have you ever feel, because I'm one that once I find, in a whole nother discussion, spirituality versus religion, right? But I'm one that once I found my relationship with God, baby, I'm so confident in who he's called me to be. Amen. That I understand that nobody has a heaven or hell to put me in, right?
That's right.
And so your opinion of me is really irrelevant unless I allow it to be relevant, because God continues to show up in my life and shine, and he's using me, and I'm allowing him to use me. Ladies, do you ever feel like, because you're beautiful, and so a lot of times people will transfer, like, oh my God, they put this image and this pressure on you to carry yourself in a certain way, and that you can't be human, you can't be vulnerable. Have you ever felt like that? And how do you work through that, being true to yourself, yet being the example that God has called you to be, and allowing to people to learn through your vulnerabilities and your nakedness?
That's good.
That was deep. And I can let you go first.
Okay. I really do love that question, because who God has created us to be is honestly who he's created us to be. He's instilled in us the fruits of the Spirit as well, and that confidence and that boldness. And there are going to be people that may feel as if, oh my gosh, you guys are just too perfect, like you guys have it all together. And that's not the case at all. Like, we all have gone through things. We've all lived a life. Like, we all have a testimony to share. And it's like, just because you may not like me because of your perception of me being too perfect or too goody, too in love with God, and like doesn't ever make a mistake, like that's not going to change who I am in Christ. I'm going to continue to walk with him. I'm going to continue to trust him. I'm going to continue to allow his light to shine, and just continue to be who he's called me to be. I can't allow the outside voices to get to me, because Jesus was understood. His brothers and his sisters didn't understand him, and they thought he was a lunatic, but look at all that he's done and how he's literally the God that he is. So it's like, he was the blueprint for me, and he's the blueprint for us. And so if we just continue to keep our eyes on him, then it's going to make this walk with, him easier. And we're not necessarily focusing on the voices or the judgments or the opinions, because they don't matter. And like you said, they don't have a heaven or a hell to put us in.
And people's opinion is only their opinion.
Yeah, absolutely.
And for whatever reason, they think that you want to hear it. Okay. Yeah. Said it, now you feel better or what, but it's only their opinion. And so we'll talk about affirmations, and I want to hear from you, Aleyah, about this question, but we'll talk about affirmations later. But understanding just who you are, and whose you are. Yeah. Because people will transfer and project onto you and have you look at yourself in the mirror. Yeah. Something like you're flawed. Yeah. Because they inconsistent. Yeah. So you have to know who you are, But Aleyah, not hiding behind and being okay with being who you are transparently. What has that experience been like for you? Have you experienced that? Have you felt that before?
Absolutely, 100%. I could talk all about this, but I've always dealt with like insecurities and not being confident in who I am and in my body and the way I look. I would say since middle school, because I was skinny, I wore glasses, but it wasn't until I went through college. I was a first generation college student, and I went through struggles in college too. But I've always been writing ever since I can remember. I always journaling. I have journals from way back in middle school, and I would just always write. And then it was impressed upon me that I should start a blog. So I released my first blog, and it was basically sharing my story back in 2021, I believe. And that was the turning point for me. And that's when my relationship with God started to grow. And that's when I started to realize, like, God created me in his image. I lack nothing. I am fearfully and wonderfully made. And now that I'm in modeling, like, I get to use what I used to be insecure about, and people, I don't want to say praise me for it, but like, I get to just flaunt my beauty and just be confident in who I am. And I'm big on affirmations, and it's important for me to like what I see when I look in the mirror, even when I go to work. My mom would always say, when you look good and you feel good, you do good. So that's always stuck with me as well. So I've always, you know, used to deal with like insecurities, and I still, you know, kind of deal with people's opinions and wanting to please other people, but it's not like I used to. But that's still something that God is working with me on. But I'm more confident in who I am today than I was years ago.
Yes. And I love that. And thank you for sharing that. You know, it took me back to when I'm bow-legged, and then I've always been petite. And so forever people would make me feel some kind of way for being, I would not wear, it would be summertime, I'm in jeans, like I was hiding. But baby, like I just said, once you find your swag, honey, girl, watch out when you find your swag.
Yes, when you find your style, you can't nobody tell you anything.
That's it.
Can't do nothing. But we got to end. I love this dialogue. I thought we're going to have to do a part 2. This is so good.
Yes.
But Yalanda, take a moment for me, please. And then I'm going to go around one by one. I'm going to ask you all different questions to speak to and encourage our audience. But Yalanda, that mom who was like, I'm trying my best. Yeah. You know, I'm struggling. My daughter's, you know, I'm giving her everything I have to give her. The connection is not necessarily there. I'm not getting my results. Speak to her heart, her mind. Just encourage that mother.
So to that mother that might be dealing with that, I would continually say and encourage you to give yourself grace, because as I stated, there's no blueprint for this. And as you grow, as your children are growing, you're growing as well. You're learning yourself as well. I've learned myself, sis, through my children. And I know that sounds odd, but as they started growing and start going through things, and, you know, we don't remember who we were at that time. We know what we went through. But now I can see that what they're going through is helping me grow. But continue to give yourself grace. There's no, it's not a race. Don't rush to feel like you got to do this and you got to do that. It's day by day. Sit down, have meaningful conversations with your daughter. Understand where she is, and don't put the pressure on. As you want grace, give your child that grace too, because they're trying to figure out things. But sit down, hug them. We're huggy. I'm a huggy, lovey kind of person. Sometimes a hug will do so much for someone. And in this house, these girls, we're always hugging and kissing. Aleyah, not as much as us, but, you know, again, to that mom, give yourself grace. Allow your child to make those mistakes and understand, but more so, just kind of sit back in quiet time and listen to your child. As Aleyah said, she journal, but your child is trying to figure it out just as much as you are too. So you got each other. Don't put too much pressure on yourself. There's no race. It's not a race. It's day by day. It's minute by minute. Whatever you see on social media and what we see out here in the world, that's for show. It's inside the home. The intimacy of what you're doing inside your home. Focus on that. Talk to your daughter. Understand what your daughter is going through. Don't assume you know. Ask her. Find out. And I've gone through that. And like you said, that's another segment too, because, you know, we quick to jump to like, oh, you got attitude. You got a problem. Let's not. I'm learning how to get past that, because my mom did that to me, and I realized how it made me feel. And I did it though. Yes. But I had to go back. And even sometimes, sis, we got to apologize to our kids.
Absolutely.
Big time. So I'm not above it. These girls know it. I'm not above it. Now, I'm not always going to apologize when I know I'm right, but I will apologize. But give yourself grace, sis. Whoever's listening to this, give yourself grace. It's not a race. Take it day by day. Have meaningful, quiet time conversations with your daughter, because she's trying to figure out life too. Don't assume she already knows. That's the biggest thing. Don't make that assumption that they should know. Ask them, do they know? And if they don't know, make sure you give it to them.
Absolutely. That was good. I have a mentor. She always says, seek to understand.
Yes.
before seeking to be understood.
Yes.
Powerful. That's good stuff.
Yeah.
Aleyah, take a moment for me and just encourage that young lady she's trying, and it's just seemed like she just can't get there.
Mhm.
She's not ready to give up, but she has hope still.
Yeah.
Encourage her. Let her know that she can make it.
Yes. To that young girl, because I used to be in your shoes before. Um, Jeremiah 29:11 says, "For I know the plans that I have for you, declares the Lord, plans to prosper you and not to harm you, plans to give you hope in a future." So if you feel like you're losing hope or you just feel like you can't get there, just know that God has ordained your steps. God knows everything that you're going to go through in life. Nothing catches him by surprise. So continue to lean on that scripture and know that you are enough and that God has plans for you. It's not going to look like your sister. It's not going to look like your friend. I know our generation is big on social media, Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, and we tend to compare ourselves and feel like we're behind in life. But like my mom said, the things that you see on social media, it's all for show. People are not showing their struggles on social media. They're only showing their peaks and their mountaintops, but they're not showing their valleys. So do not compare yourself to that, because comparison is the thief of joy. And if you compare yourself, it's kind of like a slap in the face to God, because God created you in his image and that you lack nothing. So just know that God has a plan for your life and everything will work out for you, and that I love you and God definitely loves you.
Man.
Y'all got me with cheers and chills and tears all at the same time. And I'm sick of it, but I love it. My girl Anyah, will you
Yes.
please just take a moment? I'm gonna piggyback off of what Aleyah was saying, but that was gonna be the question anyway. That young lady I'm a church girl, I'm in church, I love the Lord, but I catch myself out here catching bodies or being a little ratchet, or I'm kind of torn in between, but I love the Lord. Just encourage her. Let her know that, girl, you're gonna have to pick a side, sis, but it's okay being you. What you
Yeah.
got?
Definitely, I would say to just know that God is waiting for you with open arms. He's waiting for you like he waited for the woman at the well, and to run to him, let him see your vulnerability. He already knows and he already sees it, but he wants you to acknowledge it to him because he's able to take it away. And this is something that I just said at church, is that we might have these burdens or we might have things that are weighing on us, but he says that his yoke is light and his burden is easy. And
Word.
so, take that time to go to him and to just tear down your walls. Allow him to break you down to build you back up. Allow him to heal you. Allow him to make you whole. Allow him to make you complete. And forgive yourself. You're going to make mistakes in this life, but you cannot hold on to that unforgiveness, one, for yourself, but you also just have to release it. You have to surrender it. And you just have to know that God truly has a plan. You cannot lean on your own understanding. You have to look to him, and you just have to let him do the work that he's doing, because it may not feel good, it may not look good, but God is always there and he's always in your midst. And you truly just have to make the choice. Do I want to serve God, or do I want to serve God and live this word? You can't do both. So you have to just make that choice, trust him. And if you're going to walk with him wholeheartedly.
That's awesome. Thank you so much. That was beautiful. All right, child, we got to do our affirmations.
Okay.
Yalanda, will you affirm yourself, please?
You know what? I am fearfully and wonderfully made, and no weapon formed against me shall prosper. What I do understand is that it's going to form, but it won't prosper. And when I know that, I can get through it. So it's not going to matter. And in all reality, you want it to form so that it can strengthen you, because each time it forms, it's strengthening you, making you stronger and better. So no weapon formed against me shall prosper. I am fearfully and wonderfully made.
Yes, girl. Yes. Aleyah.
Yes. My affirmation is, I am more than enough and I lack nothing.
I love it. Yes, that's one of the top. I hear I am more than enough, and it's so important for people to know that. I
Yes.
hear that affirmation more than I hear any others.
Yeah.
I am more than enough.
Yes.
Anyah.
Yes. So mine is actually a scripture. It's Luke 1:45, and it's, blessed is she that believed that the Lord would make a fulfillment of those things to her. That is my affirmation, because it's a promise that God has made. He's made promises to us and he's going to fulfill those promises. just in his divine timing. So it just keeps me going. It keeps me motivated, and it just keeps me trusting God and knowing that he's a man of his word.
Amen.
Let me tell you, I got it right here. I got to say this, and then I'm going to ask you all to share where people can find you if they want to tap in with you. But God gave us the word. And in his word, he said, and I know in my time of going through, I will tell God, you said,
yes,
be a rewarder to them who diligently seek you.
Yeah.
You said, we have not, we ask not. So I'm asking you, I will tell him his promise, me, baby.
Yeah.
yes, ma'am. Yes,
And
ma'am.
say, God, I need you to show up in my life because you said that you would.
Yes.
And I understand that that's okay to do that.
Absolutely.
Yes.
Wanda, where can the people find you before we go to church real quick?
Absolutely. Absolutely. I think my social media handle is my first and my last name. That's my Instagram, Yalanda Cork. My Facebook page is Yalanda Cork. And I think that's it for me because I'm really not on there as much, but those are it. My first and last name. You can't go wrong.
Awesome. I love it. Aleyah.
Yes. So I'm the social media queen here. So you can definitely follow me on social media, Instagram _Aleyah Cork _. Also, there is a link in my bio that will take you to my blog so you can read all the blogs that I've posted so far. And my Facebook page is my first and last name.
I love it. Thank you, Anyah.
Yes.
Think about you at church, girl. You at church.
Yes.
I love it. What do they call you at, girl?
Okay, so like you said, they can find me at church, but they can find me. They can find me on Instagram, Anyah Cork _, and I'm also a business girl. So if you want to know anything about the business field, you can find me on LinkedIn as well, and it's my first name, Anyah Cork, as well.
So do you do any mentoring, like either of you ladies, model mentoring, business mentoring?
Yes. Yep.
So I actually do. I am a model coach. So I will be starting one-on-one classes in the new year. So I do model coaching. So if anybody wants to, learn how to work the runway, you can message me on Facebook or Instagram.
I love it.
And
Anyah, yes.
Go ahead, Nye. I'm sorry.
Okay. So for me, I actually work with a lot of like college students and high school students, but for those that are in the transition phase of wanting to get like a full-time career and just overall pursuing that, like I really help them understand the ins and the outs of like how to go to an interview, how to present yourself, how to carry yourself, how to interview well, how to make a lasting impression. So I do lots of that kinds of stuff. And then I also had a career in HR, so I can really just be that guide and that voice for them on the things to look out for, the things to see, all of that. So if you ever needed that, you can find me on LinkedIn and reach out to me.
Awesome, man. This has truly been a blessing.
Yeah.
I knew it was going to be. You ladies are absolutely phenomenal. And I think very highly of you, not to project, but to affirm that being perfectly imperfect, which is okay, that you are amazing in your own right. God is shining brightly on you. And baby, favor ain't fair, but it sure enough look good on you.
Amen.
Thank you so much.
Thank
I
you.
love you. I love you. I love you.
Love
you too.
Oh my God, I am so full. I am so full right now. That was amazing. Wasn't that a treat and a blessing? We were talking about raising queens today. I pray that something was said or done to encourage you, inspire you, to keep you connected in your journey, to let you know that you can make it. Keep going, mom. Keep pouring. Keep speaking. Keep praying over. Keep encouraging, inspiring. You got this. Daughter, it's okay to be perfectly imperfect as you try to figure out your calling and your purpose in this walk of life. Stay connected, but no matter what, know that you are more than enough and you are loved. And until next time, please have an amazing day intentionally. I love you in real life. Let's get it. Hey, let's grow. Bye.